Hi everyone, and welcome to OCD Victory. My name is Matt, and in this video I want to talk about step number 7 for overcoming OCD, which is a process I like to call accept, sit, and breathe. Now, when we talk about OCD, we're talking about the presence of obsessive thoughts and compulsive behaviors, right? And so a person will experience these obsessive thoughts that just repeat again and again and again in their mind. And these obsessive thoughts often trigger an anxiety spike, right? And their anxiety goes way up when they experience it. And then they perform a compulsive behavior to help the anxiety go back down. So when we're talking about accept, sit, and breathe, the first step of this process is really to just accept the obsessive thoughts, right? Accept the presence of obsessive thoughts. And when I talk about that, it's an interesting concept for most people because they're like, oh, I don't want to accept these thoughts. These are horrible thoughts, right? That's why they cause so much anxiety. But I'm not asking you to accept the content of the thoughts. I'm just asking you to accept the presence of uncomfortable thoughts and weird thoughts in your mind, right? And the more you do that, the more you'll start to see them for what they are, which is just weird thoughts, right? And the second part of the process is this idea of sitting with the uncomfortable feelings that are generated from these obsessive thoughts. Now, this is virtually the process of exposure and response prevention, but this idea of sitting with these thoughts allows for the phenomenon of habituation to take place, right? It's something where you're not just actively getting rid of these uncomfortable feelings, you're allowing yourself to experience them and kind of ride through them, and then eventually they're just going to kind of fade away on their own, right? And you're showing yourself that you can go through it, right? And so when we're talking about the first two parts of this process, the first part is just accepting this presence of uncomfortable thoughts. And the second part is really sitting with these uncomfortable feelings that come with the thoughts, right? And the third part of this process is to really turn your focus and attention to your breathing. Now, what happens when you get these anxiety spikes is that people often get these short, quick breaths, right? Which actually doesn't allow a good flow of oxygen in their blood and body and in their mind. So it's important to really turn and focus on deep diaphragmatic breathing and really expanding your lungs and chest cavity and getting a good flow of oxygen in your body. Now, this does two things. One, it just kind of promotes the oxygen in your mind and your body, but it also allows you to focus on something, right? While you're sitting with these uncomfortable feelings. So this idea of taking these deep breaths, 5 seconds in and 5 seconds out, really allows you to draw your attention to your breathing and experience these uncomfortable feelings, and then slowly allow these feelings to dissipate on their own, which is really you experiencing habituation. And which is really showing yourself that you don't need to be afraid of these thoughts. So to quickly recap, this idea of accept, sit, and breathe is really kind of an introductory method to exposure and response prevention. It's this idea of accepting whatever uncomfortable thoughts come in your mind and then sitting with whatever feelings generate, whether it be anxiety, guilt, or doubt, or worry, and then sitting with that feeling and allowing it to be there as long as it takes and letting it just slowly fade away on its own. And then while that's happening, turn to your breathing and really get a good flow of oxygen in your body and allow yourself to just experience it and ride through the fear. And the more you do that, the more you'll habituate to the fear and eventually slowly run, obsessive thoughts out of your life. So that concludes this video on accept, sit, and breathe. For more information, please check out my website at www.ocdvictory.com. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.